It may have been Labor Day weekend, but the Loyola Ramblers still put in some work.
They sure did. The women's volleyball team improved to 4-2 on its season this weekend, winning all 3 games at the Hampton Inn Invitational in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Women's soccer came away with another win this weekend, moving to 3-2-1. And the Ramblers cross-country team kicked off its season in Madison, Wisconsin, with both teams placing second.
All that and more on This Week in Rambler Sports on the Rambler Sports Locker.
Volleyball senior Maureen Carls was named tournament MVP at the Women's Volleyball Invitational at Bowling Green this weekend, pushing the team's record to 4-2 on the season. Freshman Amanda Cushing also helped carry Loyola past Wright State with 11 kills to round out the team's perfect weekend.
All good things for women's volleyball. Cushing was also named to the all-tournament team this weekend, making her impact early on in the season. Now for the cross-country team, who also put in work this Labor Day weekend, kicking off its season on the right foot at the Badger season opener in Madison, Wisconsin. Senior Mitch Baum took his first collegiate title at the opener, while Sydney Stunkel led the women's team in all 5 meets that she competed, placing 4th overall.
The men's team also had an additional pair of top 10 finishes, as Nick Miller placed 5th with a time of 19:06, and Chandler Diffie finished 7th with a time of 19:09. The women's team also got great contribution from Emma Hatch, Erica Levisti, and Hannah Lies, who all finished in the top 15. Way to run, Ramblers.
And now for this week's By the Numbers, let's take 5 with Dante.
Hi, this is Dante Violet, and this is By the Numbers. 5 years old and up is the required age for Loyola's dance team junior clinic for young dancers. On October 25th, the clinic will teach pom and jazz styles from 9 a.m. to noon, and the $30 fee includes a t-shirt and a photo with Loyola's mascot, Lou Wolf. Just 5 errors the entire weekend were among the impressive stats recorded by LUC's outside hitter, Amanda Cushing. She was named the Missouri Valley Conference Freshman of the Week and helped lead the Ramblers to a perfect 3-0 record at the Hampton Inn Invitational, earning her a spot on the all-tournament team. Fifth-year head coach Porter Moser returns 4 starters and 8 of his top 9 scorers from last year's team that won 24 games in the College Basketball Invitational title. The Missouri Valley Conference has unveiled its 2015-2016 men's basketball schedule, with the Ramblers slated to open the challenging 18-game gauntlet at home against Southern Illinois on December 30th. And in the last 5 years, this is the 4th time Loyola University Chicago's men's soccer team battled former league foe Valparaiso to a scoreless draw in double overtime. The result from this evening's contest in Brownfield, Valparaiso, Indiana, sees both teams move to 1-2-1 overall. With five major sporting franchises, the Bulls, the Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, and the Bears, and 17 championships won, Chicago is still the best sports city in the world. That's it for this week's By the Number. Back to you guys at the desk.
That 5 was awesome.
It wouldn't be a Rambler Sports Locker show without talking about Ramblers Athletics' own dynasty, the men's volleyball team. Loyola has won the last 2 national volleyball championships, including winning at home in 2014. The Ramblers were faced with challenges in defending their titles this season after losing 2 big contributors from last year's title team. Cody Caldwell, the MVP of the 2014 NCAA tournament, graduated last spring, while reigning National Player of the Year, Thomas Jayski, decided that this summer he would forgo his senior season to play professional volleyball in Poland. However, standout players Jeff Jendrick and Peter Hutz will bring their championship experience with them in an attempt to become only the 2nd team in NCAA men's volleyball history to win 3 straight titles. The Ramblers look to win their 3rd national championship in University Park, Pennsylvania this May.
Brooms, balls, and hoops.
Broom, broom.
Mike Nish is here to tell you all about those muggles playing Quidditch.
Quidditch is a wizard sport based off the Harry Potter series, but is adapted for muggles around the world. Players compete on broomsticks, and the objective of the game is to get the quaffle, or ball, into the opposition's hoops. Loyola's Quidditch Club co-president, Ann Pluchar, explain the only two differences between the books and real life.
There are two big differences, one of which being we don't actually fly. We'd probably have to sign more forms and waivers for that. And the other biggest difference is the snitch, which instead of being a tiny little ball that like flies through the air and impossible to catch, is actually someone called a snitch runner, which is wearing a pair of yellow shorts with the equivalent of a tube sock and a tennis ball in the back of it.
Loyola has had a club Quidditch team since 2010. They have about 25 active members each year. The idea of Quidditch really interests Harry Potter lovers, and it tends to draw in quite the crowd at the beginning of each semester.
It's like they just come for some reason to see what it's about, and then after that end up like loving it and sticking with it, or loving the people and wanting to travel with them. Pluchar
says Quidditch is a fun way to work out and build community.
I think it's not only like a great way to like stay in shape and be doing super cool things with this up and coming sport, which was just featured as one of the newest up and coming breakout sports. So it's a great way to like do something new and exciting, but also a great way to make friends and find a community that you can like really fit in with.
The Ramblers will travel to Ball State the second weekend of October to compete at the Super Ball Brothers tournament. For the Rambler Sports Locker,
Hey, JT, how does Harry Potter get down the hill?
IDK, Frankie, my BFF Rose.
Falling.
Oh.
JK, rolling. Even through the grueling heat and humidity of this past Labor Day weekend, women's soccer still came up on some victory, defeating Army West Point 1-0. Rambler defense, along with Taylor Lambarissa's first collegiate goal, limited the Army's options, and with this success, the team improved to 3-2-1 overall. Next weekend, the Ramblers will head to the Marquette Invitational in Milwaukee, so stay tuned to watch them match up against some 2014 NCAA tournament participants.
On Tuesday, Venus and Serena Williams faced off in the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open to continue their heated rivalry that started when they were children. They aren't the only siblings in sports, though, so we're doing the Ramble family style, talking about our favorite sports sibling rivalries.
Hi, I'm Bridget Murphy. Welcome to the Ramble. I'm here with Dylan Conover and Jake Mazanke, and we're here to talk about siblings. You can't live with them, and you can't live without them, but what happens to that rivalry when you blow it up and put it on a national court or field? So we're going to talk about who our favorite sports sibling rivalry is. Dylan.
Hi Bridget, hi Jake. I was thinking about this last night. I was thinking of all the great sibling rivalries we have in sports. You got Chris and Kyle Long, Serena and Venus Williams. There was one sitting in my gut that I was trying to ignore, but in the end I ended up choosing them because it's too obvious. It's Peyton and Eli Manning. Not only is there a rivalry between the two, they're a well-known rivalry, and they're a very successful rivalry. They were both record setters at their respective colleges. They were both first overall picks in their drafts, Eli in 2004, Peyton in 98. And Peyton holds every quarterback record like there is. He holds 15 total, and he's only getting more. Eli obviously doesn't hold the records, but the one thing he does have over Peyton is 2 Super Bowl titles. And both of those Super Bowl titles were over Peyton's arch rival, Tom Brady, and the New England Patriots. And even though he doesn't hold the records, Eli's top 20 in all of the categories Peyton leads. So they're both elite, all-time quarterbacks. And I don't think it gets any better than that.
Good points. Jake?
You said that the best rivalries are on TV. I'm actually going to debate that and say I think it happened on a neighborhood court in California. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about Reggie and Cheryl Miller. And Reggie Miller actually said that his sister owned the neighborhood courts when they were growing up. And Cheryl actually made a name for herself in high school when she scored 105 points in a high school game. She went on to USC and she was a 4-time All-American and won the Player of the Year award 3 times. She has 6 gold medals, 6, and was induced in the Hall of Fame before Reggie Miller. They're both now in the Hall of Fame, and Reggie Miller, when he retired, was the leader in 3-point shots made, which has now been broken by Ray Allen, but he also has tons of Pacer records, has his number retired, and was one of the best basketball players of all time.
Okay, so we got basketball and we got football. Dylan, how do you respond to what Jake said?
Well, I mean, I think it's true. There is a great rivalry between the two, Reggie and Cheryl. But I don't think it really can be considered greater because this is kind of an apples and oranges conversation we're having here. Reggie never played Cheryl except for pickup games, back home in California. I mean, don't get me wrong, she was amazing. Like you said, the 105 points, the 4 times All-American, all of those things. but they played in different leagues. I mean, I think the thing that makes Peyton and Eli great is they're competing for the same trophy, whereas Cheryl and Reggie could never do that. They could never get the same trophy. One's in men's and one's in women's. And I think because Peyton and Eli were at the same level, were playing in the same league, and are playing in the same league, I think that's what elevates their rivalry just a little bit more.
Jake?
I beg to differ. I think that the fact that they played in two different leagues makes it even more special. And the fact that, Reggie has all these hilarious stories about Cheryl just stuffing him in the lane growing up, and they both admit that she was the more dominant player. And there's a funny story about them two in a car after a high school basketball game. And Reggie got in the car, and his dad asked him how he did. And Reggie's like, "Oh, I dropped 40 tonight. It was the best game I've ever played." And then that was the night that Cheryl dropped 105 points. And then you get one up by her sister. She's on national news. And the thing I got to say about Eli and Peyton is that, although Peyton is elite, I don't think Eli's an elite quarterback. In 2013, he threw 27 interceptions. 27. And although he has 2 Super Bowls, one was off a lucky David Tyree catch. And he's only made 1 postseason in the last 7 years, so his career has really declined. And so I think you can't really say it's a rivalry. Peyton's still at the top of his game, but Eli hasn't been there in 7 years. So I don't think it is good.
Okay. Well, coming from a person who played high school sports with their siblings, it's fun and it's great, and I've got plenty of stories about my sisters, I'll tell you that much. But I think that it's necessary to have played in the same league to be considered a rivalry. So I'm going to go with the Manning brothers. And as a fan of sketch comedy, they also have a rivalry on SNL. If you guys want to check that out, it's very funny. So that's it for this week's Ramble. Back to you at the desk.
Seems sibling rivalry can provide for some healthy competition, but also provide for long-term animosity as well. What do you think?
Well, my little sister still reminds me of the time she beat me in a game of basketball, so I know the pain.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I'm Frankie Deemer.
And I'm Jerron Taylor. Tune in next week, episode of the Rambler Sports Locker, for an up-to-date look at Loyola sports and beyond.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.